Friends, I am so excited for who you get to meet today. I am sitting here with someone who is simultaneously a new friend and also an old friend, Conni Jespersen. Conni, welcome to Girls Night.
Thank you. I am super excited for our chat today. Thank you for having me on.
This is so fun. Well, so you and I were talking before we got started about the fact that this is like kind of our first official time meeting, but we started writing and blogging and kind of creating our little corners of the internet at the really at the exact same time back in 2011, 12, 13.
Yes.
Yeah.
12 and 13, I think. Yeah.
So we kind of like we're running side by side for a while there and like wrote for some similar magazines and things like that. So I'm so excited to get to finally talk with you after like knowing who you are for so long.
Knowing each other, and now we are talking kind of face to face, if you will. But yes, I love this.
Yes. Okay, so for women who haven't gotten to meet you yet, tell us who you are, what you do, and a fun fact about yourself.
Okay. And you'll have to pardon me. My dog, Miles, is a big part of who I am. He's a dachshund, and so he barks a lot. So even if I try to shut him out of the room, he will come. He'll bark in the backyard or the front yard. So there might be some hellos from my dog, Miles, the dachshund.
That's totally okay.
All right. So I started Art in the Find. It's a styling business, and I am solo at the moment. I have an assistant who helps me. But basically what I do is I consider myself an educational wardrobe stylist. So what that means is I go and help everyday women who just find it challenging to get dressed for their everyday moments. And we start with closet editing, meaning we got to go in and find out what do you have, where are you starting from? And then we might turn to shopping if I find that there's maybe some gaps or deficiencies in you needing to replenish something. Maybe you've gone through a lifestyle change, becoming a mom of multiples, or maybe you've gone through a different life transition with a balance and fluctuation in weight. We have to review what's working, then shop for those pieces. And then we kind of round it out with outfit planning. And so that means we take the pieces that you have, maybe some pieces we purchased, and we show you the potential that you have. My whole ethos is to help women educate you about what works, what doesn't work, and why, and also to tune into your feelings of how you feel in your clothing, how you want clothing to speak for you and make you feel every day. And so I do that both virtually and in person with clients. And I am so fulfilled with what I do. I love what I do so much. And I love talking with women.
That's so fantastic. For women who have been listening to the show for a while, they know that this is like a pretty major pain point for me.
Oh, man.
I like dressing well, and I think in general, like I have good taste. It's just there is a gap between I don't love shopping, and there's a gap that happens for me like in the morning as I'm getting ready for the day. Like this is an area of my life where I need like not just hand holding, but like it done for me. And if I had all the money in the world, someone to style me at all times would be like very high on my list.
Mine would be having someone do my hair all the time. If I had all the money, I'd have to come and do my hair all the time.
Also a chef.
Absolutely. I think that one of the biggest things we've been feeling specifically since the pandemic is this loss of who we are, what we're supposed to be doing. And we went through this really, maybe it's a terrible time, but the time where we were really comfortable in our clothing, meaning that athleisure took hold and leggings were in the regular rotation of things that people were wearing because we weren't going anywhere. And so now that we're past that and stepping out into what is our new normal, we are then also inundated with a lot of influences and opinions on social media. And so I think the confluence of those two things have really left a lot of us just feeling like, what the heck am I supposed to do? Like, what do I put on my body to feel legging comfortable, but not legging elevated, if that makes sense? And that's kind of where I jump in and help people.
Oh, that's so good. Yes, I am in leggings so often. And I don't know if you know this, but I'm living in Spain right now.
Yes, it was like Nashville, Denver, and Spain.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes. I'm all over the place. So I'm living in Spain
for a while.
It is like more formal here. People are, Spanish people dress up like on the daily for school drop off and for all kinds of things. And like, I'm like a mess compared to them. It's part of it is because I have my twins that are giant now, but still not big enough to really walk through the city reliably by themselves. And so when we're walking to school, we're pushing them in the stroller and we're pushing them like uphill. And so I arrive at school like just absolutely bedraggled, and all the other Spanish moms are like perfectly coiffed and so sophisticated. And I am just like a sweaty mess in my leggings and sweatshirt. And so this is like such a present thing for me.
Yeah.
I love that you do this work. How did this start for you?
Well, I was in teaching. I forgot to share my fun fact too. I just realized.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So Conni, I want to hear how this all started, but before, tell me your fun fact.
Okay, so I was thinking about this for a minute, and I was rearranging my books the other day, and I love to read. I'm like a huge reader. So I brought this book out. It's called Delancey. So this book is about a pizza shop in Ballard, which is outside of Seattle, okay? There was an author, I think it might have been around the 2012 time, who her name is Molly, but she had written a cookbook, and I was in a book club, and we had read this book by her. And so I started making this, oh my gosh, banana bread. That was my favorite. I still make it to this day from her recipe. Well, she and her husband at the time, they're no longer together, they opened up a pizza shop. And he had done all this research in Brooklyn and New York about finding the best pizza, how to make the best pizza. So I had, and then also started blogging. So I started following her blog, which was called Orangette. And I knew I was going to go to Seattle to see some friends and go with a girlfriend. I had my blog, and I also am super creative. So I like to take pictures of everything I'm doing. So when Instagram started as a photo app, that was really inspiring to me. So we go to Ballard, and I want to go to this pizza shop, Delancey. There was no book about it at the time. And so we go, and I write about my experience on my blog and take a photo. And Simon & Schuster pulled my photo from my blog when she wrote a book about this restaurant. And this is my photo I took and used it as the cover on this book. And I was like, oh, talk about full circle moment where I was like seeking out the specific restaurant to go to. Super followed her. Loved this whole mission about the pizza. And then this, I was like, this was amazing. And I actually don't talk about this enough, but I'm like, this is so cool.
Conni, I have that book. And yes, I do. Because because Orangette, I loved that blog. I absolutely loved that blog. And I loved her first book. And I read Delancey on my honeymoon. So it's like my copy is like a little wet from the pool.
Oh my gosh.
You're holding it up and I'm like, where is this going? That is absolutely so cool.
I made her on the back. If you look, it says jacket photograph, Conni Jespersen, artandthefine.com. I made her put my website on there.
That is brilliant. That is absolutely fantastic. That is such a cool fun fact. Man, I miss food blogs. I need to find a good one that I can I'm not a cook. I just love talking and learning about food.
Oh, me too. I know. I love it so much. Anyhow, so that's my fun fact. I was like so excited to share that because I just was rearranging my books this weekend, kind of like minimizing and organizing some stuff as I'm sick and like not doing anything at home. And that book I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. And then you asked about the fact. I was like, I got this.
I got a fun fact. That is such a fun fact. That is so fun. Well, yeah. Okay. So tell us how this all happened. Like, how did you, go from being a person who puts clothes on their body to a person who helps other people put clothes on their bodies?
So I have always been really creative, and I started teaching when I graduated from college. I was going to be a teacher, and I started teaching in San Diego, which is still where I live today. And this was back in, 2006. And every year that I taught fourth grade for a few years and middle school for a few years. I still took photos of things. I was still very creative. I liked to dress up for like another event or something that was happening outside of school or outside of where I was teaching. But I just didn't like every summer, I had a hard time getting back into my classroom. And I spent so much time decorating that my principal, who was also a friend of mine, and I taught at a great school, but she was like, I think maybe like lesson plans, like you should really focus on writing the lesson plans for the year. And I'm like, yes, I know. I mean, I have them from the year before, but I always am off the cuff. I'm very creative. If I try to stick to the whole year plan, it's very boring and uninteresting to me. And so I was constantly creating new plans, going off the cuff. And that was what inspired me. But I just knew I was not meant to teach forever. And every year I questioned whether or not I wanted to do it. So kind of in the 8th year, I would say this is 2010, 11. There was like a joining of things that were happening all at one time. I was babysitting for a family in the summer. And she was the wife was she was a philanthropist, and she dressed really well for herself. And so I was inspired by her, how she dressed, and she was working with a stylist. And that was where I was like, oh, people can style, like, you don't do this by yourself. And she's like, no, there's no way I'd be able to like pull all this together, have the resources and time to do that. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Then Rachel Zoe came out with a show about styling. And I was like, oh, and she styles celebrities. And then Emily Henderson came out with a design show. And I'm like, oh, you can design homes. Oh, they hire people to use their creativity to help dress other people. And then, we would have school galas every year, and I would get asked by the parents, like, oh, where'd you get that? How did you find that? What did you, and all these things are merging together. And I started realizing that there was this profession that I'd never even known before. In college, this was not a thing. And social media was not a thing. And so I didn't know you could dress people for a living. And then I went to a speaking engagement that in 2012 or 2011. And it was a history professor talking about fashion through the course of time. And it was like everything connected for me because I was a history teacher. I'm like, this is why I love history. And this is how my creativity, this is why fashion through time is so interesting to me. And then I just thought, okay, I'm going to take the leap. I won't leave yet. I'm going to do teaching one more year, but I'm going to start a blog. And so then I started Art in the Find because I felt like there's an art to finding creativity, creative things for each individual person, for yourself, for homes. I didn't know if I wanted to do interiors or people. And so from that point, it was like I started blogging. I would like be the person that would go to J. Crew and buy an outfit and wear it and photograph it and return it, which is like I don't appreciate that. But like I wasn't making that much money to buy all these clothes, but then I'd also use the clothes that I had in my closet. But I needed content, right? I was trying to style my friends and just getting stuff up on the blog. And once I started doing that, it just gave me more confidence. I started joining community groups that were creative. I told my principal, like, this is the last year. And then I just kind of did it. And I didn't really know exactly what I was doing at first, but over the course of time, I started kind of tightening my experience. I did a lot of free stuff, a lot of free photo shoots, a lot of editorial things. We moved to Toronto. I was a prop stylist for a couple of years. We moved back. And then in 2018, that was when I really realized that I just wanted to help the individual person because editorial was fun, but it wasn't personal enough for me. And I wanted to bring my education into what I do with my clients. And so I wanted to help them. I wanted to answer the whys. I wanted to get them to understand how to dress their bodies and how to feel confident in the clothing. And so, I guess through 2012, my husband being super patient with me, to 2018, I took all that time to figure it out. And then after 2018, it really started to take off.
That is I love hearing that. And I always love hearing sort of the backstory behind things because I think a lot of times we don't hear it and we just assume like, well, everybody else already knows what they want to do or everyone else comes out of college and like immediately jumps into this career or I need to have figured this out by XYZ time. And it's like, no, it all is this one little step to another little step and that opens up a whole new set of doors and then you pick one and that opens up a whole, set of hallways and it's just that progression is so real and so frustrating when you're in it because you just want to figure out the answer all of a sudden.
Of course.
But that's so beautiful. And that's how wonderful things happen, I think.
Well, and I think if I wasn't teaching, like I think teaching that to get me to realize what I wanted to do today, if I wasn't teaching, I wouldn't have had all of that educational knowledge and background to want to apply into what I'm doing now. So it's almost like I had to do that to get here. And now I'm here and I need to look at how to get to wherever the next level is in my styling business. But I remember my husband asking me in the years I wasn't making any money, what are you going to do? And I'm like, nothing else. This is it. I've got to make this work. And this is what I want to do. And now I'm 10 years in, which is wild, or maybe even more. Well, no, I guess officially after 20, I was still, doing and tinkering from 2012 to 2018. But I have been doing this for about 10 years. And I just don't see myself doing anything else. I love the act of helping people and figuring out the whys with them, especially related to clothing.
Oh, I love that. The thing about clothing that's so interesting is it really is more than meets the eye.
Oh, yeah.
Like, for lack of a better way to say it, it really impacts the way that you feel and show up in the world. And it's a totally unavoidable thing. Like, you cannot, I mean, I guess maybe like, is a nudist colony a thing? Like, I don't even know. that's the only scenario in which you can avoid putting clothes on your body in the morning.
Yes.
So it's something you have to either contend with or like ignore, but I think it's really hard to ignore.
Right. And I think that that's maybe what women are trying to find is what is their level of comfort that it works for them, but that they don't feel like they're going out of their daily comfort zone, I guess. How do I make this make sense? Like, you want to find a comfort level that also gives you confidence. That's what I'm trying to say. Right? Like, the whole goal is that you want this confidence to be able to do that, walk out the door with this outfit. We all know the difference between when we leave the house. Like, even this weekend, I was mentioning earlier, I was not feeling well. So I was in a sweat set all weekend because I didn't have the energy and I just didn't feel great. And, so I'm wearing the clothes that reflect that. Today I might not still be feeling that amazing, but the act of putting on this shirt I have today, the pants I have on and shoes immediately makes me feel better. Taking a shower, doing my hair, and just putting on the outfit. I might not be feeling the same, totally excellent, but I feel much better having an outfit that I have on that I can feel confident walking out the door today. And that's the point. And women are trying to find out what that looks like for them. And that's a huge challenge. And what it really boils down to is the inner work that you kind of have to do on yourself, the inner confidence. And it starts looking inward at you. And many times, because if we are moms, I'm a mom, you're a mom, we have children and we balance a household. My husband was also out of town this weekend, in addition to all the things, right? And then he gets home and he needs like a vacation day from his vacation. And so then I'm like shipping my daughter off to school, doing the lunches. And I had to ship some packages from an event I had last weekend back all before 9 a.m. And you're doing all these things. And so you're not thinking about you first. You get lost. And that's another reason why we're feeling lost. And one of the practices that I like to do with clients is to start off by asking them who they are. What is your personality like? Because we got to get that back into your clothes. And it might, we see what is on an influencer because it's easy. They make it look super easy. They make it look like a complete outfit. I want to order that outfit because I want to feel that feeling. And I just want that on me. But you have to do the work, and the work takes time. And we don't have time because we're short on time, but we are worth spending a little time looking into ourselves again and asking what we want.
That's a word. That's so good. It's the balance that I feel like is tricky for me. You've said comfort, and that's a big deal. I am sweaty all the time. I'm sweaty all the time because I have two little humans running around and climbing on top of me and getting ketchup on me, and we're pushing them down the street, up a hill. I just am sweaty a lot. And the thought of wearing really tight, rigid pants and being sweaty, makes me want to die.
Yes.
And so you have to, there are times in our life where it's just hard to, I don't know, where our lives require some sort of clothing, but then also the feeling in your skin, that's so real. And I actually, for me, find that it shows up the most in my social life. if, let's say, for example, I don't know, Carl and I go on a date and we have some extra time after dinner. And I'm like, do I want to just go home and like go to sleep earlier? Or should we go to that cool new place and like have a drink or like whatever? And I am so much more likely to be like, hey, let's just go anywhere and do anything and experience something new and see who we might meet. And like, I'm so much more outgoing and adventurous if I'm not in like super gross sweatpants. And it's not even a conscious thing it's not even as conscious as like, well, who am I going to see and what are they going to think of me? Like that's not happening in my brain. It feels totally subconscious. I'm like, yeah, I'm just going home. I'm going to bed early.
Yes. So I think what I'm hearing you say is that when you have on an outfit that makes you feel like it's comfortable, but still a little bit more elevated, then you feel more ambitious, more like you want to do something extra because you're already feeling good and it's matching what you're wearing. And then you can go out and do a little bit more with yourself and
it feels like you can be up for anything because you're dressed for anything. Yes. Whereas like if you're dressed for like, seriously, I should just be on the couch, then it's really hard to do anything but be on the couch.
Yes. Or to stay motivated. I find that too.
Yeah. What do you, for the women that you talk to, what are some of the biggest obstacles that you see overall? Like, I would like to know honestly, maybe I am alone. Maybe everyone else listening is like, well, I'm great at this stuff.
No.
But I would love to know, like, what are some common obstacles or like issues that you hear?
I would say the first is probably like feeling guilty for putting themselves first, for spending a little time and money, spending time and money on investing in your like style education. So what does that mean? Okay, so for example, one of the things that I make all my clients do is I have a style course. It's called Signature Style Method. They have to start with this course before they even work with me. This course it's just 4 lessons that are like 6 minutes or less. And it asks you all these questions about you. So first lesson is tell me about your personality. And there's like a little ebook that goes with it. It's like, okay, so you have to jot down words that you feel like describe who you are. And women get tripped up on this because they're like, well, I don't really know. And like, what does that have to do with my clothes? Well, okay, here's an example. I have a bold, outgoing personality. And so I am more likely to wear something that gets myself noticed when I walk into a room. One, because that's also my profession. And so if I look like a disaster or a hot mess when I'm walking into a place, people are going to be like, I don't think I'm going to hire you. Like if you have bad hair and you're a hairdresser, right? So I'm also bold. I'm okay with being noticed. I might do have red nails. And that to me makes me super happy. And I'm confident with knowing that about myself. I also own my own business. And so being powerful is also important to me. And I like to be able to command a room. And so I'm going to wear a blazer because that makes me feel like it aligns with my personality. So when you know this about yourself and you can say, here's who I am. And then that you can take that and say, okay, this is why I feel comfortable in this thing. If you are a mom of 4 boys and you're always going to sporting events, and then you're probably going to be more like, I'm shuttling people around and I am a mom and I am always on the field. So I'm going to have a couple cool athleisure sweat sets that are matching. I might have a cool like Viore or Varley, zippy, and just like feeling like that's your jam. And so the struggle is, back to your question, being able to identify who you are first and foremost. And like, what then does that mean when you're putting on clothing? And the second, I guess, struggle is you have stuff in your closet, but not visualizing how it's going to go together. And so then thinking that, well, I'm definitely missing this thing because I can't get dressed. I've got all these clothes, but I just need to buy something else because that's going to be the answer to what it is that I'm looking for to solve all my problems, right? Just that one outfit again. And you get it and you cannot visualize it a different way. And that is my super strength, is being able to visualize. That's where my creative outlet comes into play. And I look at a piece of clothing and I say, okay, how are you going to wear that for your lifestyle activities? If you're going to buy these printed pants like I have on today, which I love because they're bold, matches me. If you see that and you're like, I like that, and you buy it, you get it, and you're like, but I'm not bold, or I'm not that you don't want to be bold, but I'm the mom who sweats in my pants, and so I don't want to wear those. And that look cute on her, but not me, because you haven't also taken your lifestyle into consideration. So what are the things you're doing, and what do you want to put on for those lifestyle events that you're doing? So not being able to visualize is a big one.
I don't know why that, like, especially that last part, like not being able to visual, or like, what are you going to be doing and what do you want to be wearing while you're doing it?
Yes.
I'm like, it's possible that I've never thought of that. Like, how is that?
So this is the second lesson in the signature style method that I make people do, because you have to almost like, okay, let's say you are whether you're in your 20s, 30s, or 40s, and you are starting, like you bought a house or you had a kid or whatever, you need to start thinking about your future life. Like, how are you setting your family up for financial success, right? We have all these bills now, and how are we paying, and where's the money going? And so what do? You hire a financial planner, or you go online and you start figuring out where your finances are going. You probably save in a 401k. You're doing these things, and you're doing them ahead of time to save you time in the future. You're setting yourself up for your future. You have to do the same thing with clothes. Because we're buying so frequently now, you have to stop for a second, and you have to think about, how am I setting myself up for the future closet, the future me, before I buy the things? How am I going to make use of the things? And you might not have the answers, but at least you're starting to ask yourself the questions to maybe pause for a second and start to visualize. And that is so important, because then I also have my clients create a mood board to like bring it all together. So notice that we haven't bought anything yet. We're educating. You're in the process of the education, the deep dives into who am I? What do I do? What do I want? And what does it look like? And you might not have the total answers.
Yeah.
But it's a start.
I love that. That's so simple and hard and helpful all at the same time. Well, okay, I need to know what the next steps are of the signature style method now that we're talking about it, because I feel like that's probably going to be my next question.
Yeah. So the first lesson is the writing down I call them style descriptors. People call them your 3 words, your 3-word method, or whatever you want. They're your style words. And then the second lesson is writing down your lifestyle activities. Like, well, here's what I do. I walk my kids to school every day. We go to the market on the weekends. We are going to date night with my husband. Okay. So you need to either pull up your phone and look at past images of yourself like, let's say you took a photo of you and your husband out on date night. What were you wearing? And write that down. Like, I was wearing a nice blouse and jeans and flats. Okay. Then you're going to go out, you walk your kids to school. I wear my leggings and my tunic shirt. Okay. So write that down. But then also think about, are you happy with that outfit? Are you happy in the date night outfit? And if you're like, yeah, I'm totally fine with it. Great. Then what you're wearing is aligning with what you're doing. But if you're writing things down and you're like, okay, I'm wearing these things, but I want something different, you might circle that, because that's like a gap. Okay, this is gapping. It's not matching what I want. And then the third thing you do is actually, which we haven't talked about at all, but it's more like your preferences. So what you said to me in the beginning was you sweat a lot. I also sweat a lot. I sweat in my underarms a ton. And so I know that about myself. So 2 things come into play. 1, I wear a lot of sleeveless things. And 2, fabrics. So I'm not going to wear synthetic fabrics because they make me sweat more. Synthetics are polyester, things like that, that are made, scientifically made, not naturally made. So cotton, natural, hemp, natural, wool, but typically tends to make people itch. Those, but you're taking all that into consideration and saying, do I like these things and what do I like about them? Other simple preferences, like, do I like something that's a crew neck? Do I like something that's a turtleneck? Do I like something that's maybe it's a V-neck instead? Well, I'm not sure. Well, let me go back and look at pictures of myself and see what I find myself in a lot and see how I feel about those pictures of myself. And then if I'm like, oh, or look in your closet and what you wear most often. Oh, I have a ton of crew necks. Okay, so I must gravitate to those for a reason. And then you get into, well, Or I don't like wearing short sleeve because I'm conscious of my arms. Or I don't wear button ups because I have a broader bust. Okay. These are just all like things you like and don't like, which will help you feel more confident in one, making choices. I don't buy V-necks because I like these types of things. Or if you see something on an influencer, wow, she looks super cute in those animal print pants. Why on earth would I wear that? One, I'm not bold. Two, they don't work for my day to day. They're not even in a color palette. I don't even like that kind of print. I'm just getting caught up in the vibe. And so you go back to your preferences. You're like, oh, I remind myself that I'm a neutral lover. I love neutrals. I don't like a big bold print and pattern. So I'm going to stop, appreciate that for what it is, take a beat, and go, but I'm confident in all these things. Look, I wrote down all my notes and I've got all my little things here. And so I can hold back on making that purchase and not feel guilty about it. And then the fourth lesson is creating a mood board. So you take all of those things and you put them into context by either going to Pinterest or looking at your own phone at your favorite outfits. And basically what you're doing is you're trying to take all this data from lesson 1, 2, and 3, your preferences, your life, your activities, and your words, and you go and do like a search. Okay. So an example of this is like, how do you even start? What is something you wear and enjoy, you personally? What do you wear like as a top a lot that you like?
I like button downs.
Okay.
So what I like.
Button down do you have?
What?
What color of a button down do you have?
Just white.
Okay. So you're going to go to Pinterest and you're going to type in white button down outfit for mom walking to school casual. And you're going to see what you find. So you're being so specific because you have all this data about your activities that you do and even a word that you would use to describe yourself from the first personality little test that you take. One of your words is comfortable. And so you want that comfort there. The activity that you do, the lifestyle you live, and a piece of clothing you own. And you see what images come up. And that starts to help you develop a mood board. That is both practical because you're using a piece that's already in your closet, but also it's a little bit aspirational because you're seeing what comes up that you maybe don't wear, but maybe it will inspire you to either create outfits in your closet or start to develop a gap list. So say you have a bunch of images and the button downs are tucked in and they're worn with like an elastic pull-on pant that's like a full length, but it's black. And you're like, oh, I like that. I don't have anything like that. Just write that down as a little gap. Maybe I want to try a black pair of elasticated pull-on pants, and I want to find a comfortable version for myself. Maybe they need to be preference, cotton, natural fabric. Maybe they need to be within my budget. Maybe they need to, whatever these are. You're starting with everything. And with my clients, everything is with intention. But it takes time. And that's the border that we build up for ourselves as women. Like, I don't have the time. I don't have the time to sit down and take a course online. I don't have the time. Oh, well, you know what's happening and what's time sucking? You in your closet hemming and hawing over this frustration that you feel every day because you can't put together an outfit. Well,
right? That's so real. It because that is the thing. It's like, oh my gosh, I have to learn a whole different language. Like, no wonder this isn't going well. I'm just buying, like, for all of us, we're just buying whatever and then being like, well, I like this top, but I have no pants to go with it. Or like, I don't actually like this when I got it home. Or like, I like this in theory, but when I'm walking the kids to school and I'm walking uphill pushing 70 pounds, I'm going to be like kind of sweaty at the top and not feel as cute as I did when I left the house. Maybe that's just me. I love that. I'm like intimidated a little bit because I'm like, this is a lot of work, but it also makes a lot of sense why it's not just natural.
Right. It isn't natural. And it does take a lot of thought, which is where I go against the grain, but it's my education coming in because I'm trying to make people be proactive and think about setting themselves up for success. But we just live in a culture where we want things so quickly. We want things now. We want things instantaneously. And I will tell you that's often the easiest solution is not beneficial in the long term.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you have, gosh, I could ask you 1,000 more questions, but I want to make sure I get to this one. When you help people put together outfits, do you have them are you teaching them sort of a formula, or do you put together hey, here are 15 outfits that I have styled for you? And you can do you recommend figuring it out ahead of time and kind of like you would for a trip, but for your actual life?
Kind of. So I also have I guess it's a formula only because when I was thinking about it, I wrote it down. So I also have this, I started recently an intentional style membership, and I walked through the process of this step-by-step kind of how I would lay out an outfit. And so they were given this 10-page kind of freebie, if you will, but as not really a freebie, but I guess a guide that is showing them every step that you would start with from beginning to end when it comes to putting together an outfit. And I do this in outfit planning sessions with clients, but we use their real clothes. They have to put those pieces of clothing on, because that's the other thing. You can lay a flat lay outfit on the ground and take a picture of it and be like, oh, that looks pretty. But it's different once you actually start putting it on your body. So what I do with clients is, or the membership is physically make them put on the clothing as we are constructing an outfit. So we start with a bottom. That's always where I begin, because for me is like a foundation. And so you could take, I won't say we all, but a lot of us have a bottom we go to regularly. And I will caveat by saying, if you even struggle with having one bottom that you feel confident in, that's where a gap is. You got to figure out what that is. And a lot of women struggle with bottoms. So then that's just a whole nother discussion, right? Of how do we find a good fitting pair of bottoms for you? But you start with the bottom. And then you're kind of just experimenting with different types of tops. So if the bottom is looser, as wide legs are becoming more available and in the, era right now, then you probably want to try to balance that maybe with something a little bit more fitted on the top. And it doesn't mean skin tight. It just means something that maybe is not as voluminous as the bottom, because you're trying to find this balance. And if you have baggy with baggy, you're going to start looking a little bit street style. And that's okay if that's your vibe. But a lot of people are like, but hey, where'd my body go if you're in something that's really loose, right? So then you just start talking about, okay, why don't you like that? Well, I don't like that because it's too loose on me. Okay, let's find something that's more fitted. So you go through your own clothes, your basic t-shirt, a tank top, try on a loose button up, try on a dressy top with all those bottoms. Do you like it? How does that feel? And then the big question again, what would you wear it for? So you have this top, you have this bottom. You're starting an outfit. Where are you going in this? And that's where they start to think about, oh, okay, so if I'm going to go on a date, maybe I don't want my tennis shoes. Maybe I need something that's it could be a flat, but a nicer flat. Okay, I actually don't have that. That's where I struggle. Okay, so let's add that to a little list for you of things you need to look for in the future. But could you do a low heel? Because we're all also not wearing high stilettos right now. Well, can't say we all aren't or are, but whatever it is for you, a wedge, if it's a heel, low or high, a boot, try all those things out and then add something to it. I want to elevate my outfit. Okay. So as you're trying the pieces on, tuck the shirt in or fold something or add something on top or beneath, add some necklaces. This is a higher neck, so I don't have any necklaces on today, but I have an earring that shows up a little bit or ring on my finger. All of those little things, they come with practice, and that's how I'm showing clients as we're working through how to create an outfit. And so once we have created an outfit and they know where they're going, they take a photo of it. They save it to their phones. They know, oh, okay, I can turn to this in a pinch. And that's kind of what the guide walks them through, how to do that too. And then we just repeat the process again. Same bottom, different top, different shoe, different layer, or different accessories. And that's really, honest to God, it's easy for me because I do this every day, but you just have to play and experiment with it until you find a combination that feels comfortable for you. Because again, what people want are specific rules that I can follow that go from here to there and real quick, but it doesn't work that way. Everybody is a little different, and somebody wants to tuck. Someone will comment on my feed, oh, that looks terrible. Well, it's not on you, it's on me. I like it. So it's taking ownership over what you like and what you don't, back to what do I want out of my clothing and where am I going from, So does that kind of answer your
Do you
question?
feel like, yeah, no, it totally does. It feels like there are so many pieces you could have. And like, it's like, how many variants do you need to be able to fully, like, how many outfits are we supposed to have? How many different, it just feels like so many pieces. I'm like,
Yes.
okay, thinking about shoes, I'm like, well, I did do a really, really successful shopping trip a couple weeks ago that I'm feeling great about. I have some great bottoms. But like, I also went through my clothes and got rid of almost everything when we moved to Spain, because we moved with just like a few
move will do that
suitcases.
to you for sure.
Yeah. And I love that. I'm glad that we did that. But so I'm like, I don't have a ton of, like, I would have to go buy like several pairs of shoes to sort of round out my collection. Like, how do people do this? How do people have the full like variety of all the different pieces you need to be able to make all the combinations?
Well, one, I think you do it slowly. Again, in this era of time where we want everything to happen and it looks like people have things instantaneously, they don't. Kate my daughter is 6.5. And I think just after she was born was when I really started honing in. And that was 2018, which also aligned with my business growing. Your closet is a constant state of evolution because you're also always becoming a different human being. And so it's never going to be complete and done. And people will try a year of no buying, and that's fine for them. It's just, when do I reach a point where I feel like I've listed out my activities that I do and I have something to wear for all of those things? Then you're done. Right? And you don't need any more. But that's what we market to or for or whatever the brands are supposed to do, is make you think that you need more.
Yeah.
My answer is, you don't have to have a certain amount. It is when you feel like, I can get dressed to go to that place and I don't have to freak out. And what throws a wrench in that, though, is when you've got these, which is happening a lot in the States specifically, especially like in school, is like, oh, we have this gala that's this theme, and you're going to go to a friend's party and it's that theme. And so then you feel like you have to buy something to dress up, or I'm going on vacation, I'm going to Mexico, so I have to dress like I'm going to Mexico. Just wear your regular clothes. Like, wear it just, that's what I do. I mean, I am going to Hawaii next week. I don't need to dress like I'm a Hawaiian or Pacific Islander. I need to dress like a Connie. Maybe I'll wear more dresses because the weather's hotter and I sweat, as I've said before. But I just pulled out my shorts. I pulled out my tank tops. I pulled out a hat. And I did order a bathing suit because I lost my bathing suit when I was on vacation a couple months ago. So I need more than one bathing suit because we're going to be at the beach every day. And so I need two. So then that is a specific thing. But I feel ready already for my trip because I just have the right shorts that I already love. I have tank tops I already love. And I wear those in the late summer and fall in San Diego. And so I guess what I'm saying is, if you're setting yourself up for success, already making outfits built around your everyday activities, then you will be complete. You will have the things. And that's kind of my answer. Like, it's less a number and more is it satisfying my everyday life? That's what I'm trying to get clients to understand. How are you dressing for every day? Because then it should work for a lot of other things.
Yeah. That's really good. Last question. I know that so many of us are getting ready in a hurry in the morning, like shipping packages before 9 and like running out the door and solo parenting and all the things.
Totally.
Do you have any like shortcuts or kind of, I know that there are no rules, but like, are there any rules of thumb that like, okay, if you have 5 minutes to get ready for like I don't know, and you would like to dress in a way that makes you not want to like hide. What are some things that we can do in a pinch?
I would say, again, making sure, I guess, you've got like 3 go-to outfit formulas. And again, that takes a little bit of work ahead of time to know, well, what does that mean? What are my outfit formulas? So for me, like, I like to wear jeans because, again, I like a more polished look. I like to be held in. And jeans do that for me. Jeans are a big struggle. That's a different conversation. But I wear jeans and I also like a tank top. So jeans and a tank top are I need to get ready really quick and not look like a dump on the ground. And I do love a layering piece. People who live in warmer climates might accessorize more than layerize, but I love layers. And so I'll do a blazer, like I told you I like before, blazer, tank, and jeans. That works for me because I know I already have the tank and the jeans that are my go-to outfit formula. Then I look at, okay, what's another like little formula? So let's say you said a button up. Well, what do you like to pair with button up? Well, I like to pair like a chino pant. Okay, so button up, a chino pant, and flats. Okay, so just maybe if you need to write them down, or even again, what is super helpful is visuals for me. Take photos of outfits that are your favorites when you have them on and you feel the most confident version of yourself, and save them to an outfit folder. That then when you're in a pinch, pull up your outfit folder. I have worn these jeans for the last, before being sick over the weekend. I think I wore them 2 times last week. I'm already wearing them 1 time this week. I wore them 2 times the week before. No one cares. I love them. And I just pair it with a different top. So that's another thing. Take your favorite bottom that makes you feel really great and just have 3 tops you want to wear with them. And then wear the same thing over and over again. Because really, nobody is clocking it but you. And as soon as you change a shirt and a shoe, it feels entirely different. Yeah. So we do make it harder on ourselves. And we're trying to simplify. I'm trying to simplify the overwhelm for people. But I think taking photos of your favorite outfits and putting them in a folder, or just knowing I love to wear this and this, and you can take that one bottom and wear it a bunch of ways, or apply the outfit formulas.
Yeah. I love that.
Does that answer?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Conni, this has been so fun. Thank you so much for the work that you do. Thank you so much for coming on the show. This is like the perfect girls' night topic. And I'm like getting up to go look through my closet right now.
Well, need me.
Amazing. Thanks, friend.